Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Ozioma, and in today's episode, we're going to be talking about how to stop doubting yourself because I can guarantee you that you've experienced this way too many times, and I am exhausted and tired of doubting my own potential, and I believe you are too if you're watching this video. So that is why I'm going to be showing you exactly how to get rid of your self-doubt so you can actually maximize your potential. So please stay tuned and let's get into it. The first step I'm going to be mentioning is for you to understand that we are all creatures of habits. The way you wake up in the morning from one side of your bed is based on the habits you've developed over time. The way you wear your pairs of jeans by sliding in either your left or your right leg first is all based on habits, and habits are formed through three major steps. First of all, there has to be a cue, then there is an action, and then there is a reward. Let's say, for instance, for every single time you see a Coke bottle, you then are prompted to drink the Coke. And after you drink the Coke, you feel refreshed. Then you've created a habit because for every single time you see a Coke bottle, you're going to drink it in order to feel satisfied. So the same thing goes with self-doubt. It's also a habit that we unconsciously develop in ourselves because for every single time you're faced with an uncomfortable situation, automatically it prompts an action of you wanting to run away from discomfort. And then the next thing you feel satisfied from shying away from it. Guess what? You're creating a habit because in the next year, in the next 5 years, in the next few months, every single time you're faced with an inconvenience, your brain is automatically going to take the action of making you run away or shy away from that responsibility. And when you shy away from it, you feel good about yourself. But is that really the best step to take? This habit is going to continue over time. And the next thing, you're going to turn 50 and you're going to wonder, where did all my years go and why have I not done something meaningful and substantial with my life? Because the more you stay on the wrong bus, the more it's going to cost you to get back home. Think about it. Some of us are actually scared of our own potential. And I'm not even trying to throw shades here. I'm going to put myself under the bus and you can jump in with me if you please. Okay, now the crazy thing is that I didn't even realize that that was a thing until recently. I'm a shoe designer, and for every single time I think about expanding my business, I always have this tight muscle tightening in my stomach, sometimes in my chest, sometimes even in my throat, right? And for every single time I feel that way, the next thing comes this thought in my mind, and I think, will I be able to handle the amount of success? If I edit this post and I go viral, it could lead to me getting more followers, more orders. I cannot even take care of the orders I'm currently having. So what makes me think that I can handle that level of orders? Now, for every single time I think like this, I think about growing my social media account to be able to get better engagement and reach a wider audience. This same thought pops in that if I do that, I'm going to get more orders, and getting more orders might actually lead to me realizing that I am incapable of running a business. And for every single time I think like this, guess what happens? The next thing, I do not take action. I do not go ahead and promote my social media account. I do not go ahead to create content on my social media account. As a matter of fact, throughout last year, I think I only posted 5 times on my Instagram. I don't even have a TikTok account. And this has always been going on for years and months without me even paying attention and realizing what my problem really was. And every single time in my head, I'm saying, oh, I do not have enough orders. I need to get more orders. But I was the one literally shooting myself in the foot. Up until recently, I was on TikTok and I was going through different accounts, and I came to realize that there are so many entrepreneurs out there, and most of them are girls on TikTok. And the thing that shocked me the most was the fact that most of them were way younger than I am, and their businesses are even way more successful than mine. And I was so shocked. I was like, wait, if someone younger than me can handle this level of success, what makes me think that I cannot handle that level of success? What makes me think that I cannot handle a large amount of money or a large amount of orders? That changed my perspective. So you need to understand that sometimes we are scared of our potential. That's why we doubt ourselves. We're scared that maybe if we do this and we're finally in the spotlight, that things will go wrong. What makes you think it's going to go wrong? And the thing is, it's not your fault. Maybe these thoughts are automated. You don't even realize it, but this thought pops in. But you need to start taking control of your life. And that's why it's very important for you to put yourself out there. And sometimes we think that by putting ourselves out there is by taking one drastic measure, maybe like traveling out of the country or leaving your hometown or something like that. Sometimes it could literally be as little as following the right social media accounts. And that's it. Two times now that I had to follow the right social media account and my perspective changed on a limiting belief that I literally had. The first time was when I was following this luxury account and I came to realize that, oh, women are actually capable of abundance in every single area of their lives. Abundance in finances, relationship, career wise, mindset, spirituality. Oh, that's actually a thing. Right? My perspective changed for the dreams and goals I had for myself. And now being able to follow the right social media accounts like business accounts on TikTok actually made me realize that there is literally nothing to be scared of when it comes to attaining success. That you would never rise above the opinion you have of yourself. Just like the same way that I was constantly thinking that I was incapable of handling a large amount of money, I was always thinking that I was not capable of handling large amount of orders. I never rose above that because I was only getting the orders that I thought I was capable of handling. I even shied away from taking certain orders. I shied away from following up certain customers because I thought maybe I will not be able to pull this off. And that's the same thing with you. For every single time you doubt yourself, you're never going to take actions. And if you doubt yourself, you've already failed before you even start. And that's it. Okay. Imagine you want to jump off a vehicle and you're confident and you tell yourself, oh, I can actually jump off of this vehicle successfully. Guess what's going to happen? You're going to do it without a scratch, hopefully. But then if you doubt yourself for 1 minute, you might even sleep unknowingly before you jump out of the vehicle, and that's going to maybe lead to you actually breaking a bone or having a devastating injury. What am I trying to say? Whatever you think of yourself is where you are. The reason why you are where you are right now is mostly based on the opinion and perspective you have of yourself. So if you think that you are not worthy of success, you are definitely never going to be worthy of success, because then it's going to stop you from taking the actions to be successful. It's just like the habit pattern. There is a cue, action, reward. Okay, you think you're not worthy. That's your cue to not take action. And when you do not take actions that make you successful, you will never be successful. And then you feel satisfied because you're in your comfort zone. It doesn't work like that. Break those patterns. I've also come to realize that one of the major causes of self doubt comes from the lack of familiarity. Like, I want to ask you a question. Do you think a good swimmer, a professional swimmer, is scared of the water? No. Do you think a professional piano player is scared to register for a contest? No. The more you do something, the more familiar you get at that thing, the less fear you're going to have about doing that thing. The less competent you are, the more self doubt you're going to have. But the more competent you are, the more confidence you're going to have in yourself and in your abilities. I literally call that the confidence competency loop. Now, basically, this goes like this: when you try something, then there is a chance that you either fail or you succeed in that thing. And either ways, that's okay because you're going to learn from that experience. And after you learn from it, you're actually building skills. And the more skills you build in a given area of your life, the more competent you are in that area. And the more competent you are in that area, the more confidence you're going to have. And the more confidence you have, the less doubt you're going to have in yourself. Like, take it like this. Let's say, for instance, that you want to start playing the piano, right? And you learn how to play piano, but you never play in public. If someone calls you randomly to play a piano, you're definitely going to doubt your ability to play the piano. But let's say, for instance, that you've learned how to play piano and you constantly maybe play for your friends or play for your neighbors or play in school or at work or something. Let's say someone out of the blue calls you and tells you, "Can you play the piano for us?" There is nothing to be scared of. Do you know why? It's now natural to you. So it's like a part of you. So there is nothing to doubt in that given situation. That's why you'd never see a good swimmer scared to get into the water. The only person that is scared to get into the water is someone that doesn't know how to swim. The only person that is scared to cook for her in laws is someone that doesn't know how to cook. The only person that is scared to give a speech at that occasion is someone that has never or doesn't know how to public speak. And that's it. The only reason why you're doubting yourself is because that given task is not familiar to you. The feelings and the thoughts are normal, so stop feeling bad about it. Like, we always beat ourselves up when we're doubting ourselves. I constantly think to myself, oh, I am not capable of doing this. And then I end up feeling bad for not being capable of doing that particular thing. And I just want you to know that it's completely okay to feel this way, because even the most greatest people doubt themselves. I doubt myself on a regular basis. I doubt that each content I put out is going to be good enough. I doubt that each content I put out has enough value for my audience. I doubt myself on a daily basis. But what gives me confidence is knowing that I can actually pull this off somehow. I've pulled it off before, and also knowing that each content I put out is an opportunity for me to learn, it's an opportunity for me to grow, it's an opportunity for me to inspire, even if it's just one person. But the problem actually is not taking action, because if you let that fear and doubt in yourself stop you from taking action, you need to understand that every action or inaction you take in your life is you casting a vote for the person you want to become. Okay, so if you decide not to put out that content, it's me casting a vote that for the person I want to be in the next 5 years, and I am definitely not going to be a successful content creator. If I am not investing in my business, investing in my finances, I am definitely casting a vote to become the kind of person that doesn't have her finances figured out in the next 5 years. So it's not about the feeling. That's not the problem. That's not the feelings, the thoughts. They are not the enemy. It's you not taking action. That's the enemy. You're being your own enemy. The self doubt acts as a balance, because for every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. What am I trying to say? Not everything that is bad is always bad. There is always two sides to the coin. It's self doubt. It's seen as a negative thing, but it can also be used to your advantage. For every single time you doubt yourself, I want you to always remember that self doubt comes from the lack of familiarity. So if you remember that, it then helps you to identify areas that need improvement in your life. If you're scared to hold that conference, why are you scared to hold the conference? Maybe it's because you've not developed your public speaking skills. Okay, if you're scared to swim, that's because you've not developed the skills that can help you become a good swimmer. If you're scared to cook for your friends and relatives, then that only means that you've not developed good cooking skills. So personally, for me, whenever I doubt myself, it helps me reflect on the areas that actually need improvement in my life. Every second is a fresh start, and you need to have this kind of mindset, because if you have this kind of mindset, you would understand that regardless of whatever life throws at you, you're definitely going to bounce back. I want you to always think back to every worst case scenario that you ever had to experience in your life. Maybe it's being in a bad relationship, maybe it's making a bad investment, maybe it's being around really terrible friends and companies, maybe it's a mistake you made at your workplace. And I want you to think back to that time, and I want you to remember how you were able to get out of that bad situation. You pulled yourself out. The magic is in you. And the truth is that it always gets better. Like always, you learn from your past, you grow from your past, you get stronger from your past. It's not breaking you, it's not meant to break you, because if it's meant to break you, then you wouldn't experience it. But if you had to experience it, then that only means that there is a lesson to be tapped from that given experience. Whenever something bad happens to you, I want you to see it as an opportunity. to reinvent yourself. Like, honestly, because it only gets better. If you lost your job, that's okay because you don't know what's going to happen next. Like, what's the guarantee that that bad situation was actually a bad situation and not a redirection? Like, what's the guarantee? Maybe the reason why you lost that job is because if you had to work there in the next few months, you might actually die from a car accident on your way to work. You just can never tell because God is always protecting and shielding us in so many ways. And sometimes when something happens to us, it's not always bad. Sometimes it's actually a redirection. The only way out is true. I mean, if you find yourself in hell, why would you want to stay in hell? Why not get a reward for it? I mean, you're currently at your lowest moment. Why would you want to sit there? Why would you want to sit down and sit on your hands? You don't do that. The only way out is true. If you sit down, you're going to die there. You need to understand that what actually separates the survivors from the losers, it's not because of any other thing. It's just simply because of their willpower to survive. Like, honestly, the thing that separates the person that came back from war and the person that died in war is just their willingness to stay alive, their willingness to keep going regardless of whatever happens. That's what separates them. Because probably before the person that died um actually gave up the ghost, he probably thought to himself, oh, there is no way out. I might actually die here. And guess what? Boom, that happened. The thing that actually separates the really successful billionaires from the average man is their willingness to keep going regardless of whatever life throws at them. So you need to understand that the only way out is true. You don't sit there, you don't throw a pity party for yourself. You get to work, even if you have to call yourself out of that forest. Do it. I heard this quote that literally motivates me every single time, and it says, if you cannot run, walk. If you cannot walk, crawl. But by all means, keep moving. Every single day, keep moving. Even if you have to crawl, just do it. We are scared of failure. But how sure are you it's failure? Because even if you fail, you still win. Because you're learning valuable lessons from your experiences. And that's it. The things I know now, the wisdom, the lesson, the knowledge I've gathered right now in my current existence is based on all the experiences I had to go through. Me being able to run a business, me being able to start content creation, it all comes from all my experiences put together. Because I remember thinking before I started content creation, I was so scared, I was so anxious because I'm basically the kind of person that I've never been on camera. Okay, I know I always think back as a child to want to go into acting or something like that, but the idea of being on camera freaked me out, especially because of the fact that I'm a really introverted person. I do not like putting myself out there. Anything that would require me putting myself out there to be judged by people, no, it's definitely not happening. The idea that me putting myself out there was scary enough, and then having to fail in public, oh my god, that was like putting a gun to my head. And I was not willing to do that. But do you know what motivated me? Do you know what actually gave me the encouragement to actually pull this off, to actually start? Was because I started a business when I had absolutely no idea of what running a business was like, with zero money, zero clue on how to run a business. And now, counting years later, I am doing pretty good. Okay, so when I was thinking, and I was like, what if I fail? Then the next thing was like, if I was able to run a business, then what are the chances that I would actually fail at this? Because if I was able to pull it off, then I can actually pull this off, you know? And your motivation, your trust in yourself comes from your ability to try things out. Because if I never started a business, then I might never start content creation. Do you know why? Because I wouldn't have a past to draw strength from. And that's it. Okay, so even if you fail, you still learn. And the lessons I gain from my business, I still apply them in content creation. And the lessons I learned from content creation, I apply them in my business. That's the way it works. Even if you're failing, you're still learning. Environment trumps well, and that's very, very important. And that comes from the law of conformity. You're a product of your environment, and you need to be very, very conscious of where you place yourself every given time. Okay, I had this very specific experience. I'm going to try to relate to self doubt. Okay, now I had this specific friend that is very vulgar. So, with this friend, there was never a stable conversation, everything had to be vulgar. And basically, the way I grew up, the way I was raised, my personality, and who I am, I'm not a vulgar person. I don't engage in vulgar conversations. But being around this specific friend was really crazy because you're eating and there is always something vulgar about the food. You are working on the road and there is always something vulgar to talk about, you know. And personally, I am not a vulgar person. I do not engage in those kind of conversations, and I do not even find them entertaining or funny. But by being around this person for just a couple of weeks, about a month, I came to realize that I was not just laughing to their conversations, but I was even engaging in the conversations. What am I trying to say? If you are surrounded by people that constantly doubt themselves, that do not try things out, you are the average of your environment. Okay, if I stay there long enough in the company of that friend, guess what's going to happen? I would automatically become a vulgar person because I was already entertaining the conversations. I was engaging in the conversations and I even found the conversations funny to laugh at, you know? So always pay attention to your environment. You need to stop spending way too much time in your head because overthinking will cripple you. The crazy thing is that for every time you overthink a given task, you actually perform that task twice. First in your head and then in your reality. Because then your brain is going to use up exactly the same amount of energy it uses while performing the task physically. It's going to use that same amount of energy performing it in your head. So now you're already going to be exhausted by overthinking before you even carry out that task. So basically, I'm going to tell you that you should learn to use the 5 second rule. For every single time you want to carry out a given task and you catch yourself overthinking, just go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So by counting back through the sequence, it shuts your brain down, it closes up that window where you're overthinking and just prompts you to take action immediately without even thinking about it. Tackling self doubt also comes from you taking actions in the direction of your goals. Now, the thing is that self doubt creates mountains, but actions moves those mountains. What am I trying to say? For every single time you doubt yourself and you do not take action, it's going to prompt you to doubt yourself again in the future in another given situation. Like, let's say, for instance, when I wanted to start the business, if I let self doubt stop me from starting the business, guess what's going to happen? Now, when I want to start content creation, I'm going to doubt my ability to start content creation. But because I started the business, now I have something to reference back to as a motivation, as an inspiration to start content creation. The same thing goes to you. For every single time you let self-doubt stop you from taking action towards the goal, what are the chances that in the future you're going to find the courage to actually try out something new? The chances are really slim. So when you feel like doing something, if you have an inspiration or an idea to actually perform a given task, go ahead and do it because it's actually preparing you for the future. And the more you shy away from the responsibility, the more you shy away from the inconvenience, you're still going to shy away from it in the future. And that's the truth. Basically going to ask you what's next. Yes, because if you're doubting yourself, I want you to ask yourself, who do I want to be in the next 5 years? Because that will be your guiding light on what to do and how to get rid of your self doubt. Or let's say, for instance, I want to learn a new skill. I'm going to ask myself, why do I need to learn this skill? And let's say I want to be able to become financially stable. So I want to learn how to invest. So if in the next 5 years I want to be financially stable, so which means learning how to invest is a very good skill that can help me become financially stable. So now I'm going to implement the progress principle. So how does this go? It's me focusing on putting one foot in front of the other. So instead of me trying to look at the big picture, visualize the big picture, dream about the big picture, infatuate about the big picture, I'm going to focus on putting one foot in front of the other. And how do I do that? Basically, I just ask myself every given second, every given day, what's the one thing I can do now that can get me closer to becoming the woman of my dreams? If I want to become financially stable in the next 5 years, what's the one thing I can do right now that can help me become financially stable in the next 5 years? I'm not worried about the whole plan. I'm not worried about the big strategy. I'm not worried about the profit. I'm not worried about anything. What's the one thing I can do right now? Maybe the one thing I can do right now is opt for a lesser transport fare instead of a higher one, to help me save more money so I can invest more. Maybe the one thing I can do right now is actually start saving 1,000 naira every single day so I can have enough money to apply for an investment course. I'm not going to be worried about this big step I have to take to lose weight. Today, right now, by 12 o'clock, by 3 o'clock, by 6 p.m., right now, what's the one thing I can do that can help me gain my desired figure in the next 5 years? Maybe right now is the fact that I'm staring at that bottle of Coke, right? And usually I would pick it up. But because I'm trying to cast the vote for the person I want to become, I'm going to have to substitute that bottle of Coke for a chilled bottle of water. And that's it. You just have to keep putting one foot in front of the other. Sometimes we think that success is that big leap, but no, success sometimes is tiny habits that actually amount to that big leap. Triggers signifies areas that needs to be worked on in your life. Let's say, for instance, you're at work and your boss nominates you to be the host for the next coming conference, and then you're fidgeting, right? That's a trigger. You become scared, you become anxious. That's a trigger. So now when you have situations like that, I want you to ask yourself, why am I scared to do this? Okay, do not just recognize that you're scared and run away from an opportunity that has been presented to you. This is an opportunity for you to learn. This is an opportunity for you to heal that trigger. This is an opportunity for you to work on yourself. Don't shy away from inconveniences. Face it head on. That's where you draw your strength from. That's how you grow. I love to think about life as a game where every opportunity, where every battle, where every inconvenience is an opportunity for you to level up. And the more you level up, the stronger you get. The more you level up, the more opportunities you get, because then you'll be able to gain access to get better weapons to fight your battles. Then you'll be able to get access to better cars and equipment to face the enemy ahead. Okay, so I want you to see life as a game. For every single time you're faced with a difficult situation, that's an opportunity for you to level up. So face it head on and don't run away or shy away from that responsibility. And finally, I'm going to say be delusional, because a little bit of delusion will definitely not hurt anyone. And please, when I say be delusional, sometimes you might think that being delusional is all about visualization. Thinking about that big lifestyle, thinking about that big thing that you want to accomplish. Being delusional is not just about visualization. It's all about dreaming big and acting big. Because at the end of the day, fortune favors the bold and not the weak. So if you're there only thinking, being delusional with your thoughts, but you're not delusional with your actions, you're still going to keep living and experiencing the same things over and over again. As delusional as you are with your dreams, as you are with your actions, trust me, nothing can stop you from becoming everything you've ever wanted to be. So now it's a wrap. And I really do hope that this video helps you overcome your self doubt and makes you more confident and trust your abilities better. And I would love to see you in my next episode. Please let me know if you found this content helpful so I can create more content like this. Bye.